it'll shrink the penis. Well, we can make some general statements about sleep that dovetail with the alcohol thing. And look, I'm not anti-alcohol. I don't have an alcohol problem. I have a drink every once in a while, no big deal. But I'm one of these people that can either do it or not do it.
Yeah.
And it is, whereas some people, they really enjoy alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. It's just never been my thing. But in any case, sleep, meaning getting enough quality sleep, 80% of the nights of your life. And I always say the other 20%, just try and make the fact that you're not getting enough sleep for fun reasons. Out with friends, relationship, like ideally it's not because you're lying in bed stressing or et cetera. But try and get enough quality sleep 80% of the nights of your life. How much sleep do you need? Enough to feel rested during the day. Maybe you need a short nap. Now, alcohol disrupts the architecture, the quality of your sleep. You can fall asleep, but the sleep you get is not restorative. And the first part of your night when you sleep is really for repair of the body, growth hormone release, etc. The second half is when two things happen. One is you tend to have dreams that are very emotionally laden, but you are paralyzed. You have sleep atonia. You can't move, and it's a kind of trauma therapy. You actually, if you ever had like a disturbing interaction or something's bothering you, if you get a few nights good sleep, you're like, okay, like it's like water under the bridge. If you don't, people tend to kind of maintain the emotional load of things. Now, the sleep atonia is kind of interesting. Has anyone here ever woken up and you were still paralyzed?
Yeah.
That
And then
happens to my wife. It's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, it happens more often to cannabis users, but it's not uncommon for non-cannabis users too. So you wake up and it's just like you kind of jolt awake. It's pretty terrifying actually to be wide awake, but you can't move. But that's what it's like in that second half of the night of sleep. If you drink alcohol, you tend to screw up the first part of the night of sleep. And so the physical repair doesn't happen as well. Now look, I'm not somebody saying like you can never have a glass of wine or a cocktail or something. It depends on how many other healthy things you're doing and how many other unhealthy things. This is important.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you were to be really strict, you'd say the data point to the fact that no alcohol is better for your immediate and long-term health than any alcohol. And people say, well, red wine's good. And in these blue zones where people live to be 110, they're doing a lot of other things too. The reality is the resveratrol in red wine, you'd have to drink so much red wine in order to get the resveratrol. You'd be drinking all day. It's just that argument is feeble. But if you're gonna drink, you can probably have 2 drinks, maybe 3 per week, no problem. No problem.
Total drinks per week.
Per week. But if you're going to drink more than that, and I'm not, listen, I don't tell people what to do. I just say, you know, but know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, then you probably want to make some effort to do other things right. For instance, I would hope that people are avoiding hard drugs like cocaine and amphetamine.
Yeah.
Why? Because they lead to huge increases in dopamine that basically reward only one thing, cocaine and amphetamine. And over time, everything else feels a little weak in comparison, right? It's an extreme experience that you didn't really have to earn, right? There's nothing earned, and so then everything else seems a little bit weak, and so cocaine and amphetamine are very, very bad, and opioids are just really bad. And the fentanyl thing now is super scary, where young people, old people, they're just dying. So let's just like put those in heroin. Let's just put those in a category of, you know, this is serious.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that the current estimate is that more than 80% of college students take Adderall, Vyvanse, or, you know, Ritalin at some point. So it's amphetamine, and you know, if people are struggling with it, you know, one incentive to get off of it is that it's not good for your heart. It tends to push all the blood towards sort of core organs. It's like stress response, because when you're stressed, your pupils get big and your vision gets like, you know, this narrow. That's why they put blinders on horses, so that they don't look around and focus on other things. I mean, it'll shrink the penis, you know, not permanently, but Adderall, you know, the problem is very addictive because there's nothing like that narrow tunnel of focus that you get from Adderall.
I've heard it's like the limitless drug. I took a full at Burning Man.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that as much, but I've heard if you got work to do, it's fucking, it's done.
Yeah, you're in the tunnel, and so it becomes so there's use, there's dependency, and then there's addiction, right? And addiction I define, and this is based on the biology of it, but we don't have to get into that right now because we've done long episodes of that. Some of the episodes of my podcast are so long, they're like gonna cure insomnia for sure. But but you know, addiction in my mind is, the biology says, it's a progressive narrowing of the things that bring you pleasure, and it's also a progressive narrowing of the things that bring you the effect you want. There's like the fetish thing, right? Are you addicted to boots? You know, boots is the other one, right? Like some people have a boot fetish.
No.
Yeah.
Take the boot off, sock off. Let's get to work.
Yeah, he likes the feet. You need the boot off unless there's a little window, one toe showing.
I like that.
Andrew's there.
Yeah.
But you know, if you need Adderall in order to focus, you're becoming dependent. Are you addicted? Well, I don't know. It depends. But yesterday I ran into a guy on the street and we were talking about this, and he said he's off Adderall now, but he has to go to AA and NA meetings in order to stay sober. So